Hi, it's Martin here, and in this video we're going to be tackling Ford Transit rust. Well, this is my blue Ford Transit van, and it's recently been for its MOT, which is its roadworthiness certificate, and it's fouled on plenty of rust underneath on the chassis. So I'm not a welder, so this video is purely for entertainment purposes only. I've got very limited welding skills. I have got a MIG welder, and I've also gone out and I've brought some extra tools, and I'll show you them in a second. But let's tell you a little bit about my transit van. It's a 2001 Mk6 Transit, and it's the 100 horsepower T280. Now, the places I've got rust, apparently transits are very common for rust anyway. The places which have been noted that I've got rust on this is both of the inner wings, the inner chassis front legs, and also around the back as well on the suspension jacking points and across the back below the doors. So I'll show you them points in a second, but these are probably common places for a Ford Transit. Now, the van itself is in pretty good condition, as I said, apart from the underside. And what you do tend to find is that this is mostly common with Ford Transit vans, especially of this sort of era. But the actual van itself is a lovely van. They've got the bulletproof engines in them. They really go well. So it's worth repairing. Now, the only reason it's worth repairing is because I'm doing the work myself. If you take it to a garage, the van's worth probably about £1,500, I suppose, or £1,800. But if I was to take this to a welder to do, you're looking probably about £600 to £700 welding, and most of that time is the time taken to do the job, not actually for materials. So I won't be attacking this as a professional. I'm attacking it as a pure do-it-yourself home mechanic who's never really done any real welding at all. I've welded the odd thing with a MIG welder with regards to brackets and stuff like that, and little things like that, but I've never actually welded anything to this stage. The welding which we're going to be doing, as I said, involves the chassis rails, in which is a thicker gauge metal, which I'll show you what I've got in a second. And I've also brought some 20 gauge metal, which is probably 1mm metal, which is the sort of things that these panel wings are made out of. As you can see, I've started unbolting this one. This one's loose. So let's just have a little walk around the van first of all and show you where the rust is, because normally when you see vans, for example, come up for sale on eBay where they failed the MOT, it is 9 times out of 10 due to rust on the chassis and chassis legs and the suspension joints, and even around the footstep wheels and all that, but we'll show you around anyway. So this van is typical of the ones that you find for spares or repairs, because it is only economical to repair if you get a garage to do it. So let's have a little look around it. Right, so if I take you on the inner front wing there, I don't know whether you can see or not, but down in that corner there you can obviously see daylight, and that obviously shouldn't be there. So that's one thing there. And across the other side in the engine bay, all down on the inside of the panel there, the inner wing there, you can see rust there. We're going to obviously have to tackle some of that. But again, coming around the front of the car, under the wheel arch, you'll probably see a lot better from here, because the MOT station is actually ringed part of the welds where it's rusty. So I don't know if you can see there, on the actual chassis leg, there's a rusted hole gone through there. And just above the wheel arch, if we look up there as well, where it's ringed in yellow, that's the obviously the inner wing there, all the way up there. So we've also got to sort that out. Coming around to the other side of the Transit, you can probably see under the offside, which is the driver's side as well, all along that chassis rail there, where the testing station is actually marked as well, it's perforated. I think that's it on this side. Anything up there? No, that's it on this side. So that one is basically going to be quite a big plate going around that, so that's not too much of a problem. Now, he did pull this up, but he said it's not fouled at the moment along this sill, but I probably will put a patch on that anyway. And where are we? Coming around to the rear wheel arch, just under there on this chassis member down there, you can see there's rust gone through there. So that is another patch there. Walking around to the back of the van, getting underneath it. you can see up there along this main chassis member as well, there's some rust up there, and as you can see there as well, he goes through to where these are the bumper hangers here. So coming round to the near side as well, getting under here, up there again on the chassis rail, there's another patch there. I mean, these seals, or rockers as you call them in America, have actually gone through as well, although he hasn't ringed that. But these are only cheap to replace, but I'll do these at a later stage. And also behind the rear wheel there, as you can probably see there, there's another hole which is ringed as well. So that is where all the rust is on this van. It's little bits, but the chassis rails are the main parts, but I've got some thicker steel to show you that. And let's go and have a look what I've actually bought to do this job with. Right, so the idea as well behind me doing the job was that if I was going to spend £500 or £600 to get this welding done, I thought I might as well go out and just buy some extra tools. And this lot here cost me probably just over £100, and I thought that was a worthwhile task, bearing in mind that I will still have these tools at the end of the job. So again, I've just been down to our local machine mart and brought this stuff here. It's more specialist stuff than me. I mean, I've got loads of normal tools, as you know, but this is a bit more specialist, just for welding orientated stuff. For example, I went out and I brought these clamp kits there. You can see you need these different sort of clamp kits there, and they give you 3 in one set, and this is only about sort of 12 to 15 pounds. I don't know how good they're going to be, but they may do the job, and let's hope they do. I mean, there's not much they've got to really hold, but I'm sure you'll see that they seem to be pretty substantial. They're only done on a budget, obviously, because you can spend a lot of money on these sort of things, but they're going to be doing the use for what I need them for. So we got them as well. I picked them up as well. That was only £4.50. Nice thick leather set of gloves there, which are, or gauntlets if you want to call them that. I've got an extra spare bottle of gas as well. Well, I say gas, this is for the MIG welding. I've gone for the argon and CO2 mix. It's an 86% argon, 14% CO2 mix. So I've got some set up already, but just in case you run out, I've gone out and spent another £15 on a spare bottle. I've got one of these big thick twisted metal wheels for removing the rust. I've got loads of different types of rust removing pads and different grades of grit sandpaper and all that, but apparently these are very good as well and they do the job. That was probably about £12, I think. I've also gone out and got this thing. Now this is a step cutting tool. In other words, I won't use it for this metal, but you basically put that over the edge of your metal and press it in. I'm not going to do it with this one because this is thicker metal. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But this gives you a step in the edge of the metal, and if you spin that head around, it's also got a hole punch there where you can actually punch for the spot weld. So that was £58, I think. Again, that's made by Clark, and I got that from Machine Mart as well. I've also got this, which is a centre. It is a drill for spot weld kit. Now, again, you can buy these cheap as an individual. This one comes with 5 or 6 different replacements with double-ended edges, and all this does, you center drill out the spot welds. It comes in kit form like that, as you can see, and that's the tool there. That centre piece is spring loaded, so you locate that centre in the centre of the spot weld and then push in, and that metal bit is spring loaded, and this is a little cutter blade then, which then cuts a circle around the actual spot weld and releases the panel. You can actually unscrew these and spin them around. There's 2 sides to them, so you get double the use out of them. So that's the spot weld remover tool, and as I said, that comes in the kit form as well. You get a couple of spare blades with that. I don't quite know what that drill's for there, I'm not too sure. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actual cutting wheels in there, and they're double-ended, so you've got 12. So that's that as well. Now, as I said, I've got grinding disc and wheels, but I've got some bigger ones. I've got the smaller grinder, a 9-inch grinder, and I've also got the big grinder as well. I've just got some cutting discs for that as well. And this is the plate steel I've got, mild steel, for the chassis rails. I think it's probably about 2 millimeters thick, maybe. I'm not too sure, but it's very, very stiff, and that would be ideal for the chassis rails. And I've also got a big sheet of panel steel as well, mild steel, for other repairs, maybe body repairs or whatever. So that's inside, I won't bother showing you that. So that's the equipment, plus I've got the MIG welder. As I said, I'm not an expert, but I'll be showing you from a layman's point of view. So that is the tools and the materials which I've had to buy. So let's go out to the van now, and the first job is to remove the front outer wing. So let's go and do that. Right, I've started undoing the bolts for the front wing. It looks like all that's entailed here is one there, one there, one there. Going around to the front. I mean, my bumper was held together like that with someone to put a screw through there, but when you get the bumper out of the way, obviously it's fixed from behind. Obviously the fixings are gone on mine. But there's also one that you've got to get from the inside, which is there, and you reach that obviously by getting the long socket, and it's a 10mm and undoing there. Right under the wheel arch there, you've got a Phillips screw, which I've undone now. So everything this side, as you can see, is basically loose, and the only thing I can see now that's holding it on is behind the actual wing mirror. So these had 3 little caps on, which I've taken out, and I've got an 8mm socket in there, and I'm just undoing this wing mirror. So I mean, the thing I've really come up against at the moment is the underneath side is undoing rusty bolts. So having a can of WD-40 is obviously going to be a handy thing. Now these are quite deep in there, so you just have to ease them out. As you can see, there we go. That's an 8mm socket, that one. The other ones holding the wings are 10mm. So far all I've used is 10mm and 8mm socket. There's 3 of these. So that's one out. I'm taking the bottom ones out first, because if I'd done the top one first, and all the weight would be hanging this way. So by undoing them the bottom first, you just leave the top one supporting with no sort of strain on the other bolts. Because I don't know if this needs to come off. I've not got a manual, or I have got a manual, but I've dropped it. Look, where did that go? Oh God, that's gone somewhere. That might have hopefully just dropped down the inside. You'll probably end up doing that as well, but I'm talking, that's probably why I've dropped it. Wasn't paying enough attention. So I'm hoping this is the last one now. I'll try and withdraw this one a bit easier. I'm just tipping it backwards as I pull it out. There we go, that's 2 of them out. Now, will this come off? Yes, there we go. Now, it's got some sort of indicator on there, which is connected up. There is a repeater indicator there, and that just presses together and pulls off. So there we go, that's the indicator right out of the way. And sure enough, it's opened up another fixing for us. So this does need to come off. For this one, so I'm going to be plonking the bolts back in their original holes, just because it's easier that way. So easy to get stuck with a whole list of bolts, and you're unsure what to do. And I can actually see that bolt down there, so I'm just gonna, I can actually get that when the wing's off. So just to show you, this is another of the wing fixings again, which is a 10mm bolt, and looking down there is one more there as well, as you can see. Look, just there. So that wing mirror definitely has to come off, and if you look down in there as well, you probably see that bolt sitting there. So when I actually remove this wing, that will be the last bolts, and this wing should come straight off then, and we should see the rust damage on this side. So again, back to the 10mm socket. Just undo that one. I think these wings anyway are very, very cheap on eBay. I think they're about 15 or 17 pounds. So if you do get any surface rust on one of your wings, for example, this is how simple it is to take off. And to respray one of these is probably pretty straightforward. I've actually got some paint from when I was going to do the wheel arches. So this is college blue, by the way, so I've got that code off of the paint code. So let's just put that in there for the moment. And in here, again, is that 10mm? Should be 10mm, that one, yeah. There we go, another 10mm socket. This is a little more awkward to get to, this one. It's sort of one notch at a time on the socket. Oh, there you go. Watch out for that one when that happens. Probably best to leave one of these in up there when you're doing that, which I should do. That just shows you don't make the same mistake. So you could actually take these ones off first. Right, okay, so then hopefully, with a little bit of a wiggle, there we go, the wing has lifted away. Let's put that to one side. There's our other bolt. I'll stick that back in the hole there. Those are just the wing mirror bolts. Right, okay. Now, there looks to be an inner plastic wing as well, which I'm going to have to remove. And then after we've removed this, what's this here? Look. That's some sort of packing there. I don't know what that is. But that's absolutely saturated with water. Well, I'm not going to be putting that back in, obviously, but that's obviously could be one of the reasons why. Look, it's open at the bottom there. Look, it's sitting on there, and that could have let water run down. And that's why this is all rusted along there. I'll get rid of that. How does this actually come off? Right, well, there's some sort of plastic clips just up there. You probably can't see them. I'm going to try and prise that off with a screwdriver. Right, where is it? There's one there somewhere. Where is it? Plastic clip. There's one up here. So maybe that pulls like that through there. There's one there. What's this here? There's another one here where my screwdriver's going. Wow, look at this. There we go. Alright, okay. I've actually retained the clips there. But just so that you can see, when I turn that around, there's only, I think there should have been 3. 1 there and there's 2 there. So they just push in. So you have to literally prise them to get them off. So that's the inner plastic wing. So now we can actually see the extent of the rust which I've got to tackle. Now, as you can see up beyond the suspension post there, there's a plate that's got to go over there. So all that area's got to be cleaned off before I can weld a plate over it. Exactly the same with that there. There's another little plastic cover there which I'm going to have to remove. It's a nut down there, a 10mm nut. Looks like a washer bottle there, so that's the washer bottle. No doubt for the windscreen wipers. So that cover's going to have to come on, and the bottle's going to have to be eased to one side so I can put a plate over that there. And somehow, apparently, the inner wings for these, they don't make pattern ones, but they're very hard to get hold of. So I may have to try and fabricate something here to obviously cover this lot up. I'm not too sure yet. I'll come to that on a later episode, obviously. Once I've actually started stripping down and got this front visible, and then obviously we can look at repairing and repatching things up. So that's the inner wing panel. Right, also just to make things a little bit easier, I'm just going to take this corner bumper off as well, and that is 2 of these Torx bits here, or star shaped things, one there and one there, and underneath here you can see we've got a Phillips screw, so I'm going to take them out as well. Right, well, I started to take the corner off, as I said, but then I come across that there was actually fixings going through here, and these are quite difficult to separate, these ends from the main bumper, so you might as well go the whole hog and do exactly the same. Undo these, are the ones around there, the light underneath, pull across, do it the other side, and also you have to unscrew the 2 number plate bulbs, and you can then hopefully remove the whole bumper in one go. So that's the simplest way to do it, because you've got trouble with getting screws that are situated up under here. Take the whole bumper off, it's a lot simpler. Now that's a lot easier to work with, isn't it? Right, you can now see full access to this water bottle here now, so I can now undo that and get that off. So that frees the washer bottle from there. You've now got an 8mm socket on the upper part of the washer bottle neck to remove. Separate that washer connector there. There we go. Just pull that apart. And I'm taking the weight now because that washer bottle's actually full of water. So once I undo this bolt, the whole lot should drop through underneath here. I'm sure I have to pull the whole lot out somehow. There we go. There we go, a little bit of a twist. There we go, the whole washer bottle is out. And now we can fully see what we've got. Now I would imagine that I would put a plate around all of this just as a matter of precaution, and that's probably what I'm going to do. As I said, this I'm not too sure yet. I don't know. I may have some cutting out to do and reshaping. I honestly don't know. This is all new to me, so this step has actually gone as well, so I may have to make something up there. Well, as you can see there along behind that washer bottle, if I tap all that, look at that, look. That's all got to be addressed, look. So that's going to be a long patch all the way along there by the looks of it. I'm not too sure. See, this looks a bit daunting to me because this inner panel here, apparently only Ford make it and you can't get hold of it. So I don't know quite what I'm going to do with this, because that latches onto sort of a stepped panel inside there, a curved panel, which although it's got surface rust on it, I think it appears to be alright. But even so, I'm still going to have to sort of mend this back together somehow. I'm not too sure how to do that yet. I'll have to do a bit of investigation. This side doesn't appear to be as bad, but I'll give that a tap anyway. Look, it's a bit more solid, but at the front there, as you can see, it's well gone, which is going to be a long plate all the way along there. So yep, this one's obviously a lot more secure, although there's lots of surface rust there, which I'll dig off. But as you can see, it's just surface rust there. I'll probably get away with just getting rid of all this and treating the rust on the surface and undercoating it or something. Right, so I think that's enough for video one. In the next video we'll start grinding and looking at replacing and repatching certain bits in these areas. Okay, thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to visit part 2, and if you do like our videos, rate, comment and subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye for now.